And away we go. All right, welcome everybody. Let me see if I get this name right. The Degenerate Hangout. I think that's the new name we got. Tuesdays, every Tuesday. We get together right after the ding dong, the closing bell, and we talk some shop. All right, and it's a good thing. Early in the week, we see a couple days of action, right? A couple days of prize action. We can recap a little bit of what we saw in the first 2 days and get ready for the rest of the week. And we got an interesting week. It's not an exciting week. We kind of had a feeling that may take place, right? Especially you guys who are members know exactly what I'm talking about. We were coming off a couple great weeks. Last week was a lot of fun. Again, just the amount of action out there, how broad the action was, just so many names. And no matter what you like to play, that's the beauty of these real rallies. Like this was a real rally off the lows. Okay, it's got nothing to do where the market's going to end up 6 months a year from now. I mean, my definition of a real rally is, there's breadth. It's not just FANG or not just the software names. You got a lot of things to choose from. You don't have to chase. You can be picky, selective, and keep your discipline, and at the same time make money. So that was the beauty of the rally. But like everything, and I got into a little argument with the Bears on Twitter. Nothing ever ends well. This is life. All good things come to a pause or an end. It doesn't last forever. And we kind of expected at the least some sort of breather here, and it looks like they're sneaking it in. And not even the price action here. You could see, we're off a little niner here, which just is an exhaustion signal, which alerts us to keep an eye. Things might be getting tight out there on the upside, and more in the flow. Okay, and this is what I was explaining to you guys, how the flow keeps me in check from, adding on long exposure into a market that might, be ready to pull. All right. And if you stay disciplined, all right, and stay patient, I'm not going to lie to you and tell you you're not going to get caught in anything at the end of a rally. I mean, that's the name of the game. There's nothing you can do about it. But it can soften the blow. All right. And you guys know I've said it many times, and it's easier said than actually put into action, right, or done. But what differentiates the pros from the riff-raff out there is just simply put that off a rally like this, everybody but, the stubborn wise asses out there who want to be bearish and short into this, okay? But everybody who has their eyes open, paying attention to signals, is going to make money off a rally like this. Okay, you don't need to be some market guru. Some get luckier than others, right? We see it every day. Sometimes I choose, to make a play off some sweeper activity. That name goes up a little bit. I pass on one. That name goes parabolic. There's a lot of luck in this game. Okay, so, depending on how much money you make on the upside, a lot of luck comes into play there. So I wouldn't get concerned about that. But the biggest differentiation between the two, okay, professional players in this game and retail, the riff-raff, is the pros will find a way to hold on to not all, okay, because that's the wrong way to look at it. Not all, but a chunk of the money they made off this rally, where the retail crowd will continue to press. They didn't make enough. They're frustrated, right? And they give it all back and then some. That's the major difference. Okay, that's the major difference. And it's about, figuring out what you need to do to avoid giving back all that money. And not only that, but preparing yourself for the next setup. All right. For me, I found it a lot easier because of the way I'm wired. I am a degenerate, like many of you out there. and where I needed something to, I'd like to call it my seatbelt. Okay, I needed some sort of strategy, some sort of game plan to base what I do off. Otherwise, I'll go out there, and you guys know me. I'll buy anything I possibly can. I have no problem hitting the buy button. I'll tell you that much. All right. So I needed some sort of structure, some sort of process to keep me in check to avoid, again, that thing that happens to retail all the time, getting caught. And for me, I realized that the quality activity, okay, the quality sweeper activity, time and time again, has prevented me from getting caught in a large way. All right. And that's kind of the picture I was painting to you guys the last time we spoke. All right. I don't know, how much this market's going to come in. Is this a top, and the start of a new downtrend? Right? Is this start of a whole new bull rally for the next 2 years? I have no clue. All right. But what I do know is that off periods of consolidation, right, off a strong rally, and when it's time to take a breather, time to consolidate, if this rally has more left in the tank, we are going to see sweepers. We're going to see that aggressive buying show up again, especially in new places. Okay? They're going to find things they're interested in, right? We talk about that risk-on approach. These guys were following the option market. This is not all they're doing. Okay, they're taking size equity positions, and their speculative money, their aggressive money, is in the options market, right? They get to utilize leverage there. They get to speculate there. All right, so when we see them continuously finding new opportunities on the call side, that gives us a good impression that buyers have an appetite. And the likelihood is the rally has more to go. There should be more upside. All right. The opposite of that would be kind of what we've been seeing the last 2 days. Okay. But again, don't overreact here. It's 2 days. And we would see the same names continuously catch the action, right? So for example, it'll be, let's say, the weed names. Okay, that they caught a lot of the action today. They'll play the momentum there. They'll keep all their focus there. But the problem is if they're not buying anything else over the next couple days, weeks, right? If they're not sweeping any other names besides these weed stocks, what's going to happen when these weed stocks run out of gas? There's no more buying left. Okay, and that's where the bears will sniff that out, and we'll start to see put sweepers grab the ball and generate, momentum, a lot more momentum to the downside than what we're seeing. All right, but at some point in time, if this rally is healthy, and here's the thing too, it's not only upside, because I don't want anyone to get hung up on the overall market, the indices, because I think it's foolish to do so right now. This market can go into straight sideways chop, right? That could be a form of consolidation. But selectively, they're finding names under their hood for outperformance. Okay, so that could be the case right now, what we're seeing. Today, they found, the weed stocks. And if you look at, like, for the weed stocks, for example, all right, they caught a little bit of action yesterday, all right, and then it carried over into this morning. But you look, and they look a lot different from some of the scorched, overheated stuff out there, okay? Like, for example, let's just take a couple of them. You had this CGC, I know you guys trade, right? Off a breather here. Cron, same thing, right? Off a breather here. The other two, which I don't know, to me, they've been seeing some decent action here. This ACB, right? We were talking about it the last couple of days. There, you got a 9er low there, right? The overall market, we're getting exhaustion signals on the sell side. Here you got a nice little breather, nine or low, and an uptick in sweeper activity. All right, so we could be seeing the start of that, where we're getting breathers in individual names and sectors like we've been seeing yesterday and today, but money could be rotating into stuff that already has taken that breather, okay, and makes its rounds. So it's early yet. In reality, this is one day, right? Yesterday was kind of the reversal day, the first day where we really didn't see any initial activity. Okay, and think about that for a second. And there must have been another day, but this is the first day that I can remember really having not one name off initial activity, meaning the first time it's catching around the buying off a setup. So, you know, we'll see. We take it day by day and we'll see what happens. But for me, like right now, what I'm doing is I'm just focusing on initial activity. All right, all the spec action, everything else, I'm okay with trying to day trade if I think there's going to be momentum there. And what I want to swing, it will be the quality and the quality only. Okay, and that keeps me out of trouble. All right, and as you guys know, a lot of us have been on the same page. As this market, was grinding higher, all right, and again, I'm not telling you guys to do this because you guys were doing this already, but we're not looking to pile on new long exposure, right? We're not looking to pile on risk. We want to take some risk off the table, okay? Just in case there's a breather or a pullback here, and we can look for fresh new setups, okay, or breathers, because those are the best ones. So as the market's been grinding higher, what we've been doing is taking some profit off the table. There's been some sick runs out there. Sick. Okay, and for me, like, I don't like to go into total cash unless, I'm not confident in anything out there. But I still have, long exposure. Okay, so I still have rooting interest. So if this market sits here for another day and all of a sudden, sweepers step on the gas pedal, start buying everything under the sun again, I'm still long and I have ammo for those fresh names. All right, and the other stuff I took off the table, some wrong, right? Like Microsoft, for example, I sold on Friday, the thing's still going higher. But what are you going to do? I'm going to complain about it, but that's the game. I'm still holding the EA because, the EA was one of the recent bets, hasn't rallied. Today had a decent day, but I'm still in it. So in other words, I'm not trying to be drastic here, right? Sell everything or all in or all out. You want to be smart about it. But that's where we are right now, okay? And time will tell. Like I said, the more each and every day that goes by where we're not seeing new names catch the action, it becomes that much more worrisome. And usually, from my experience, when that takes place, it doesn't happen the first day and you get that sell, but usually it chops around, the market hangs out, and then eventually rolls over because there's no buyers at that level until they find a level where buyers will show up. All right. Another thing we can do here in the meantime, while we're waiting for fresh setups, intraday, there's not a lot of range out there, okay, for the indices, but individual names, they have some movement. Okay. EA yesterday and today, fantastic day trades. All right, the weed stocks, I didn't play them today, solid day trades. So there are things to do while we're waiting in the process. If you don't do them well, you sit tight. You sit tight. Yeah, and again, you want to be smart about it, okay? Because this is what, like, we were talking about in the room. All right, this TSG caught some spec action today. All right, And, a lot of us who like to play the equity on this thing, on things like this was definitely, without a doubt, worth an equity play. Okay, without a doubt. Stock doesn't squeeze today, you're out of it. You limit your downside, case closed. Okay, had a nice pop, that's it. You call it a day. Now, on the option front, you just got to be prudent about it. Right? They're buying 20-cent lottos. Okay, they're buying the $20 March calls. The stock is 17, was under 17 when the action was going off. So, can you get 20 cents to $1? Yeah, anything is possible, but you got to be realistic. If the stock goes to 18 bucks and stalls out, and your 20 cents goes to zero, and you're beating yourself up over it. Yeah, I mean, we just got to be smarter than that, right? Or another thing you can't get frustrated about, like, I just saw people talking about it today. The calls aren't moving. I mean, why would the calls move? The stock moved what, 40 cents, 50 cents? It's still $2.50 out of the money. So we want to be realistic here. You know what I mean? We're not looking for home runs here. We're looking to feed ourselves, make a little money, and allow things to set up. And then it's only a matter of when. Tomorrow we can come in, okay, and they can hit underbelly, I don't know, tech names, and we could have 4 or 5 names we can be looking at that just caught missiles, just like that. That's the beauty of this game. You don't know. All right, and there's no reason to force anything either. If the indices are tough here to play, if some of the names you like to trade need to set up, then you have to be patient. We talk about this all the time. If you think you're going to come in and trade Amazon every single day, you're likely going to spin your wheels over the longer term. It's just the way the game works. Unless you're one of the select few out there, 1%, if that, who can trade the same thing over and over and make money on a consistent basis. I don't have the confidence I can do that. Maybe you guys do, some of you. But the chance, again, there's 1% of traders out there who can do that well. So it's a tough thing to accomplish. All right, but if you're not as confident and you're being realistic and you look yourself in the mirror like I do, and you don't want to rely on your emotions as much and your gut as much because it will get you in trouble, you have to allow things to set up. And that's where we're at right now. Okay, and it can go, again, it's just the beauty of the market. Right? People are looking, you still got people out there looking for that pullback. They're trying to catch the pullback. So the likelihood is if there's going to be weakness, they're going to sneak the weakness in. Kind of like we're seeing. Right? Doesn't look like much weakness, right? From the top to where we are now, down, net, right? I mean, net down lower from where we were. And they may dribble that weakness into some chop and slow drift. That's very possible. All right, very possible. Another opportunity just to throw out there, and then we'll get to some questions. We don't have to keep this long today because we don't have too much to talk about on the name front. But another thing that we can look forward to, even if we're in consolidation, okay, but we do get some weakness, you gotta believe they're going to squeeze bears often, even if this market has a bit lower to go. All right. And in my opinion, that's where the opportunity is. So what's that as far as opportunity? Weakness. All right. You see some sweeper activity, even if it's repeat names or whatever the case may be, into some weakness. We have a trade on our hands. But a trade is different than a whole new leg higher, and looking to kill it off some calls over the next couple of months. At least for me, it is. All right. Anybody have questions on anything I mentioned? Now, and there's a good number of you like myself who like to play a certain way where we look to take advantage of anything, right? Cheap stocks, we love that, right? We'll play them all. If you're that type of player, and there's quite a few of you out there, you guys know who I'm talking about, there very well could be opportunities every single day, even if this market goes dead. Because the beauty about the action in those names, you don't need the overall market. We don't have to rely on the overall market as much as you would, one of these high beta, heavily traded names. All right, but that's my feeling anyhow. I think that we will have, even though there may not be a lot of them, we'll have opportunities in individual names. People are telling me WTW down 30%. Stop it. Stop it. Is it really? Oh my goodness. What'd they do? Wait. So Oprah took the money, walked away nice and easy, and this is what is left now? My God. Whew. Jesus. That's nuts. That's nuts. And yeah, listen, there's been a lot of put buying, but I'm being honest with you guys. I didn't think this thing could go much lower. Like they had to. What'd they do? Cook the books? She really is. Oprah, everything she touches turns to gold. It's unreal. But like, how bad can it be? All right, let me get to some questions. Ben saying, if you're day trading an option, good question, Ben. Ben is asking an extremely important question. An extremely important question. And I think you have to figure this out before you start trading, period. Okay? He's asking, if you're day trading an option, where are you putting your stop loss? How do you use your stop loss? The answer to that question, Ben, that's why I don't day trade options. I'm being dead straight with you. That's why I day trade equity only, and I swing trade calls. But you're 100% right. It's extremely difficult, okay? Because one, depending on what you're playing, if you start playing under the hood names, you're dead, right? If you're going to play a name like TSG, there's no stop loss. It's zero. No matter what you think your stop loss is, if you're day trading TSG, it's zero. They're illiquid. There's no bid, right? Or, I see people day trade Priceline. I don't know how, with a $5 rip in the spread, booking. No, my bad. So you really got to be smart about it, right? How do you day trade booking where you're already down $3 from where you paid on the bid now? It's tough. It's tough. All right. But if you're an option player only, you're really going to have to pick and choose your spots you choose to day trade. And that's totally okay. But you have to be determined to do that. You can't get caught up in the daily noise, and you got to wait for your opportunities. If you put a gun to my head and I had to day trade calls, I would make sure, like, this is the only way I would do it. The only way I would fire on the call side for a day trade is if I really thought, or things lined up for a legitimate move, like it was worth my while. You scalping calls, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Because again, you're behind the eight ball. You're behind the eight ball, especially weeklies. Like, stock doesn't even have to move much, do nothing, and you're going to lose money. So it's really difficult. All right, it's really difficult. And I know a lot of players like that who are members. Some only trade ES day trade. They swing individual names, but they day trade just the overall market. All right. And what's going to happen is on days like yesterday and today, they're not going to have any day trades on the overall market. Right. So I'll give an example. I got a buddy of mine who I mentioned to you guys who are members know, introduced me to the Niners, right, on an intraday basis. And he day trades Niners when there's sweeper activity accommodating, okay? Sweeper activity confirming where a Niner is. And he swing trades individual names, okay? I'm sure he didn't day trade anything today and yesterday. I'm sure. Because he didn't have, right? He didn't have a setup. He didn't have any setup. One, there was not even a Niner low of the past 2 days. That's after hours down there. But you guys know what I'm saying, right? Here's their market hours. You had a Niner high, stopped the rally like a clock there, but then Niner low came after hours. So there's nothing there. The point I'm trying to make is you have to be selective and you got to wait for your spots. If you're limited. But that's a great question. And at least, Ben, you're thinking about the right things, because it's more important to find out the bad news and figure out that you might not be able to day trade what everybody else is because you're only going to day trade options. But you need to know that information in order for you to find success. And there's nothing wrong sitting tight, guys. There's nothing wrong. I mean, there's a ton of action out there, right? We're coming off one of the best rallies in a long, long time. There's a ton of action, ton of names. You go through a little downtime, sit tight. Sit tight, let things loosen up. And that's a good thing. See, when you're not forcing things, you can allow whatever needs to happen without you emotionally involved. Okay? When you're doing the things you need to. Market's going to come in, let it come in, right? The sweeper activity into that pullback, oof, I'm salivating over it already. Okay, we want to go sideways, we go sideways. No, you got to plan for that. We're only going to hang out here a couple of days and they're going to start buying the living daylights out of everything. We got the ammo to fire there too. So when you're prepared and you're not forcing things and you're sitting tight waiting for yours, there's no better feeling. Trey saying, I've been supporting myself since 2007. I think my game has been up since joining private to it. Trey, awesome to hear, brother. Awesome to hear. And listen, that's not everybody, unfortunately, you know what I mean? But sister, even better. You just made my day. I'm calling Trey a brother, and it's a sister. Even better. All kidding aside. You made my night. You made my night. And no matter, and it's as you know, Trey, it's not crystal ball stuff. It gets you away from that crystal ball stuff. And it's just allowing things to set up and waiting for the signals, waiting for the signals. That's it. Waiting for things to marinate. It's like making good sauce, right? You got to stir it. I thought I repeated what she said. She said she's been supporting herself as a trader since 2007. And her game, in her words, has been upped since she's joined private Twitter. And I make her laugh. I didn't include that, which is important, which is very important. I don't know if she's laughing at me or with me, but whatever the case may be. Thank you, Lobby. Thank you. But no, if you have any questions, guys, all kidding aside, if you have any questions like Ben just did, here's the place to ask them. Because the quicker you figure all these things out of what you need to do, the quicker you'll be able to figure out if you can do them. It's that simple. Brock is saying my account is below 25K. Able to day trade. What type of trades do you recommend I do to get my account up? That's a good question too. Brock is talking about a smaller account, and Brock is looking to build the account. Okay. Now you're going to hear a lot of people, Brock. Well, maybe not, but most people are going to tell you you need to take the conservative route, little by little, right? But that may not be what you want to do. Okay. You may want to roll the dice and be more aggressive with the intentions that you risk blowing that account up. Okay. Because you got to understand that if you're dealing with an account like 25 grand and you're looking to be aggressive, right, and really, turn that 25 into 50 and keep it up there and pile it on from there, you're going to have to be really aggressive, and there's a lot of risk that comes into play. But what I would suggest, first, I would suggest primarily swing trading, believe it or not. That's the first thing I would do, okay? It would allow you to be more selective. It allows you to learn the things that you'll need to learn, whether you're day trading or swing trading, in order to make money. Meaning, you're going to have to learn how to lose, and a loser is just part of the game. And more winners, more wins than losses, not the number, but the actual amount is all that matters. So you learn all that stuff, but at a slower pace. And you'll be more selective. So, in other words, if the setup's not there, okay, and you're swing trading, the likelihood is you'll be more patient, okay, because you can't afford to buy, something now, and then if a better thing pops up, a better setup, risk reward wise, pops up in a couple weeks from now, play that as well. You know what I mean? You want to have the luxury of that. So that if you want to take the more prudent approach, which is the more conservative approach, I would suggest you do it that way. And, again, wait. What I mean by that, you're dealing with quality. So in other words, you see the stuff I'm swing trading? That's the approach I would take with a smaller account. If you were looking, again, to take a gradual conservative approach, learn along the way, and learn the things that you need to do to be profitable. But there's a key but. If you think you're going to take that 25 grand to 200, and that you may get lucky and do that, but then take that 200 to 300 without a monster drawdown, probably back down to 30, you're in fantasy land. And those stories on Twitter, excuse my French, are bullshit. See, anybody, in my opinion, it's luck more than anything. Anybody can take their 25 to 60. You step in shit. Yeah, if you came, let's say this, okay, I'll give you an example. If you came in with 25 grand, right, and you were looking to be aggressive, and you came in at the start of this rally, and you started tailing sweeper activity, you'd be up a great deal, right? We saw a couple people in the room, good call, Abby, in 2017 do that, okay? But the problem is you're being sloppy aggressive, and you have to be to make that money, okay? So that means you're going to continue to be that way. And the first drawdown, the first real drawdown, you're going to get hit over the head. And you know what happens? If you're lucky, that $25,000 principal you started with that went to 50, 60 is probably going to come back to 30 if you're lucky. And that's all you would have made if you were being conservative anyway, if you're lucky. You understand? See, people think they can take the 20 to 60 and then take that 60 to 500 and then that 500 to a million. Those stories, yeah, people hit the lotto too. People hit the lotto too. The chances are you're not going to do that. If you're looking to hang around in this game, the name of the game, this is what you want to learn from that 25. You want to build up the confidence that you got something to rely on, that you have confidence in, that you're going to make money consistently off of. There's going to be losers, but you have the confidence that when you lose money, you're going to come back, because big picture wise, you're going to be able to make money. Okay? And then once you have that confidence, for some reason, you find it easier to find money somewhere. Okay? You hit somebody up. I'll give you a couple names in the room. Maybe that you hit them up for a loan off a score. No, but all kidding aside, you find a way. Maybe you're coming into more money. You're working on the side or whatever the case. Okay, but it's about that would be my goal. That would be my goal off that 25. If you're looking for longevity in this game, if you're looking for the score, then hang out, wait for a bazooka off a pullback, wait for a bull missile off a pullback, and roll the dice. That's all. Roll the dice. The odds are in your favor off a pullback and a bull missile. And if you get a little lucky, maybe you make that score. But it's all score, man. I'm not lying to you. I mean, it's all luck, the score. Score's all luck. One score. One score is luck. Yeah. And then Ranchero is saying you got to grind and stick to it. And, you make mistakes, you get frustrated, you get pissed off, you look to correct those mistakes. And little by little, you just start to build the confidence. And there's no better feeling. If you have that outlook, there's no better feeling than when you have the feeling that, oh man, you know what? I got something here where I think I can make money. You didn't get lucky. You didn't step on calls that went fivefold. That's luck. There's no strategy behind that. That's luck. If you told me, you've been trading for a couple years and you're hitting at a 60, 70% clip at a little less than 2-to-1 win ratio, whatever the case may be, you know what I mean? That's a different story. But, trading for 6 months and stepping in shit in 2017 and your account's up 300%, that's not going to do anything for you. It'll help you now. See, the good thing, like I see a couple of you guys asking what was my outlook like when I started. I had it different. And this is another key part to, where everybody's different. I didn't have to worry about money. You understand? I didn't have to worry about making money when I started this game. And I think that was a huge benefit. You understand? I could be patient. Like the outlook I'm telling you need to have, I had that outlook right from the get-go. Don't get me wrong. Early on, I got wrapped up into the scores, made them, got hit over the head, just a degenerate gambler in me. But when I got down to the nitty-gritty, like when I really wanted to figure this game out, I had that outlook. So the point of the whole story is you're going to have that, have that outlook if that's what you're ultimately trying to achieve in this game. Because if not, you're going to make some money, and the likelihood is you're going to give it all back and then some. And here's another thing too, and not a lot of people tell you this, but again, this is the way I look at this market. And Steven's out there; he knows exactly what I'm talking about. But I look at this game as just straight up gambling. Especially options. It's straight up gambling. And, you need to have a professional gambler's mindset if you're looking to be in this game longer term. And the gambler's mindset, the professional gambler, not the degenerate gambler's mindset, right? The degenerate gambler, he plays all the ball games, goes to every table in the casino, right? He's up 50 grand. He doesn't leave the table till he's down everything in his pocket. That's the degenerate gambler. But the professional gamblers, they find an edge, they pound that edge, and over time, they're looking for consistency, right? Money management, all that is the same thing we talk about here. Is that professional gambler's mindset? So I think you have to look at this game like that because one, you're not investing. I had a little, of course, every day I have one. I every time I look at my Twitter mentions, I find one guy that I'm ready to go bananas on. But he's telling me the market is not trading on fundamentals. And this is the same guy. He's talking about trading options. Like you're trading weeklies and you're worrying about what's trading on fundamentals. Are you serious? You actually waste your time and look at a freaking balance sheet or look at macro and you're trading weeklies? These people lost their minds. They lost their minds. So if you're looking to trade options out there, you're gambling. Admit it to yourself. You have to start there. And there's a big difference between, being a degenerate gambler, which most people end up acting like, or being a gambler who's looking to do this professionally. Because there's such thing. Don't let anybody fool you. Trust me. There are gamblers that I saw it with my own eyes throughout my whole life. Probably hobby, probably. But there are professional gamblers that never worked outside of that, never worked a day in their life and made a ton of money doing so. All right, but great questions, guys. Great questions. Let's get to a couple names here. Anybody have any names? One second. Tree saying I started there in the .com. Nice. Trey, I started like 97, 98, so right before that. You took profits in Qualcomm. And see, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That .com era, right? A lot of traders thought they were geniuses, right? They found an edge. And what happened? It's only a matter of time before they gave it all back. Yeah, Abby, we were talking about Visa. I guess it depends what you're looking for. Here's the issue with Visa on my end. You guys know what type of setups I'm looking for the most part. Visa has seen some flow, nothing really extravagant, but there's been some sweeper activity. Looks healthy, right? Approaching new highs. But here's the thing. If you were looking for Visa for just a trade, it's fine off that sweeper activity, but one issue. They started this morning, as you're well aware, into a little bit of weakness, and then added to it later in the day, stock up 90 cents or a buck or whatever it was. So the one thing you want to be careful about, Abby, in this type of environment that we are in for a day or two here is chasing. Okay? And because what can happen is you get in the Visa, right? You chase green there. You may be up on it the next day, but if you're looking for more, you're still caught up in a little congestion here. Possibly. All right. But I mean, Visa would be, a perfect example. Stocks down, 60 cents. You see some sweeper activity. You're looking for, just a trade. I think we still have that here, even if we do consolidate. All right, like I mentioned earlier. But other than that, stock looks incredible. Even if it sits here and does nothing, stock still looks great. Even if it pulls one of these here, which could happen. So what the example I'm giving you, Abby, is like this. Okay, let's say you chase this, right? You get a little follow through here. You're not getting out of that, and you're tangled up here for a little bit. So that's the point I'm trying to make. Where you see like this here, again, this is illiquid, but I'm just giving you the setup that I like. Dead. Okay, this thing's dead. Doesn't have a pulse. And then we see some sweeper activity. We're looking for life. you know. So that's the sort of thing. Or off polls, and you guys are mentioning the weed names. You know, a couple of them. Again, you don't want to get too greedy with these things either, even though they've shown killer moves. But you know, like the Cron, you got off a pullback here. You see some action early morning. You want to ride that for a trade. Otherwise, what are we looking for here? All right, are we buying Cron? This is enough consolidation here off this rip. Like, is there? What are you looking for? Another rip coming here? Right. The odds of that, the probability of that, without some more congestion, especially if the market's a little choppy. I don't know. You know, if you want to bank on that. But the quick trades are there. Yeah, TLRY honestly was probably the worst of the flow in all these things, but it did catch some flow. It did catch some flow. I don't know. What's the story with this? Isn't this a weed stock? Why is it so awful? Why is it so bad compared to the other ones? The other ones look great. Insider selling? Yeah, so TLRY, there was a little sweep. Then there was an uptick in volume later on. But there was action there. But like I said, the worst of the bunch, I think like ACB was up there, top of the action yesterday and today. Even this APHA caught some action. Cron and the CGC, not as much as the others. But the names they've been, you know, CGC caught a lot of flow, but the names of recent, they've been coming after these guys. I don't know why. ACB and the Alpha. Jeffries Weed Play. Yeah. Yep. ACB top play, right. Maybe that's why, Trey. You're right. Tree saying that maybe because Jeffries has been touting as their top weed play. But yeah, it's been nice, Ranchero. It's been some decent action in this name. Let's see what other names we got. APC Energy, boy. Oof. Yeah. So any name, as you know, Tree, you've been around me for a bit. The energy names, period, are tough. Why? Because it all comes down to this for the most part, right? You're in the hands of the crude oil gods. And what I mean by that, you know, crude oil has a strong couple of days. You may get lucky, catch a nice rally in these things. You know, crude, if there's some weakness in crude here, right? If Trump bashes OPEC, they might get tricky, these things. I mean, can we see the names, you know, outperform to the upside if crude becomes a little heavy? So, you know, crude's always tough. But this APC, for example, you know, the action, you can remember, caught right into the lows. I think on a risk reward basis was decent. Not bad here, but if you like energy, other names that have been stronger that catch flow, these are off a rally though. You know, Hess, like when oil rallies, like they support this Hess sweepers, but oil's tough. I don't know, Trey. I didn't even buy APC off the lows, and that was my type of setup because oil rubs me the wrong way, especially when we're seeing nice. So you made money with it. I would let it be for now, unless we see some crazy action, and we haven't seen that. ACB is supposed to be the Amazon of pot stocks. Seriously? That's the label they're putting on it? ACB? That's great. Let's see. What other names? Where's Tim had a name? Oh, Hulu. Tim, did you say the Hulu? You got earnings. Otherwise, I like it and have liked it. Where is it? Not Hulu. What's the name of it? Billy. He's talking Billy. Billy, don't you lose my number. That's the stock I'm thinking of. Yeah. And now here's something that's an issue with some of these things, but I think these Chinese names, okay, they've had nice moves, okay, but I'm not necessarily seeing the rolling activity I thought I would. In other words, it looks like they're looking for more in these Chinese names. The problem you got here, earnings. So if you happen to get lucky and get some weakness off earnings, I think you got several names to look at. Billy, JD, I mean, they go nuts on this thing every day. Okay, granted, it's JD, catches a lot of action, but if you get a pullback off on the earnings there, especially if you get some sweeper activity into that weakness, I think that's a nice setup. So but you have earnings. Bob, this thing catches $800,000-$900,000 sweeps in its sleep. Strong as hell. Yeah, the small ones too. QD. Look at this. No pullback yet either. Like QD, for example, I assumed they were rolling primarily yesterday. They didn't roll that much. They didn't roll that much. And a lot of these things are cheap still. They've been destroyed, So you got to watch out for earnings. But if you get weakness and you get some sweeper activity, you might have a trade on some of these things. Trade on some of these things. And just keep in mind, though, a lot of these things have run a decent amount already. Like TME had some weakness. But you're talking about a big move now, right? It's one thing if you want to hold on to some. But to buy up here outside of a quick trade, some of these things are tough. Bison, same thing, earnings. Trust me, I looked at all these things because the flow has been ridiculous across the board. Here's another one, Abby, I love, has earnings. PDD. Caught a put seller today. They're selling puts. And you got earnings. What did we say here are earnings? PDD. It's not showing up on my trader view, but I think it's March something, I think. This PDD, I don't know what they do. I've been watching the stock from all the way back here, all kidding aside, since this run. Okay. Caught a little action, exploded, and then got tangled up with the overall China weakness and everything. Then a little more action. See that 9 circle? Still circled there. A little more action off that 9er. Little more flow here and there. It held up well. Like here's December. This thing hung in there while the market was falling apart. Okay, then had a nice move. They announced an offering, a secondary. That's this pullback. All right, I said to myself, watch they sweep right into the weakness of the pricing. Boom, right there. Sweep. And now they're selling puts up here. What do they do? Anybody know what they do? Because I don't know what they do. This PDD? E-commerce. So what? They sell stuff on there? What do you mean e-commerce? Oh, like an eBay. Gotcha. Alibaba, eBay. Gotcha. Yeah, I guess they came public here, Anyway, again, another China name. Keep an eye off earnings. Otherwise, you gotta. It doesn't look that stretched out where I would look to buy it here. Well, kidding aside, but you got earnings in the way. But again, keep it on your watch list. Keep these names on your watch list. All these Chinese names, they're hot. I'm trying to think. There was one more. What other names you guys got? Maybe remind me. Sogo caught a little bit of action. Let me see. Yeah. That's a nice little breather, though. See? Oh, this is post-earnings, too. Good call there. Who called that? Oh, Steven Sogo. Now, this perfect. They sweep this name. I think you got perfect. You don't have to worry about a thing there. You don't have to worry about a thing, right? Not too overheated. I had a big 2-day move here. Nice breather. This reminds me of like the Huya and the IQ when they were setting up. That's another name, by the way. Huya, some good-looking order flow. But yeah, nah, this is a little hot for me. This is a little hot for me. Maybe if she can breathe a little bit, you could see the upside. My God. IQ is breathing too. Oh, look, they look identical. They look identical. Yeah, CRM, another missile in it yesterday. Catches earnings. A little more flow today. A little pre-earnings run up there. Just a beast, Ranchero, Been a beast for a long time, too. Been a beast for a long time. Alex, what are you saying? Yeah, good call, because I got a couple questions on this. LYB, weak today chemical name. And this is exactly what I was explaining to you guys, why I wasn't buying it, but looks better here, I mean, if you look, this is what kind of held me back off the action. Right? You had a run up here, and again, only because I'm being picky. Otherwise, not picky that I had so much to choose from. Was it LYB? I remember it was LYB or Tech I was looking to buy, and I bought the Tech because I like the setup better, right? Because it wasn't off a move. It was off a pullback. But this is what I was explaining to you guys. Like LYB, you had this, what is that, a week plus? This, look at it. This is totally normal for the stock. Totally normal. So the problem is it catches action, and if you're not looking to just flip into that added strength, and it almost seems like it's never enough every time, you get caught in something like this. And if you're going to stop yourself out, I think, you're putting yourself behind the 8 ball, because this is how the stock trades. Now, you could have got lucky and maybe it did that grind, higher until you sold it. But the way the market is now, you probably would have needed a little help from the market. Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying, Alex. If you're not concerned about it, I think it even looks better now that it gets this out of the way, right? So I'll give an example. Tomorrow, let's say you have a little follow through on the weakness, right? Typical shakeout, and then they hit it again. I think that's a great entry. I think that's a great entry. Because again, we weren't at exactly the top of the range there, but we were getting there. And it broke up a 9 or 2. Alex, you see that? See the red shadow here? Whoop! They saved the 9er. So there's some good things out of that pullback today. I wouldn't get too concerned. I just got a couple questions on it today. But I'm glad you brought that up, Alex. And listen, if it's a loser, it's a loser. But what I'm telling you is I wouldn't be concerned that it's a loser just because it did this. It's totally normal. And these chemical names, I'm sure they have a good amount of sellers in there still. These things have been tough. Good call. That's the perfect segue into this. Okay. See how tough this was? See how tough this Alcoa was? Like these are tough. What happens with these names, they struggle, they chop, they pop, they fade. It's always tough. And then when they finally get loose, you see, whoop. We saw that in Caterpillar. Remember Caterpillar? Right? Choppiness, and then finally got loose here until this moron had to throw a double downgrade on the stock. But she probably was going to breathe anyway. She probably was going to breathe anyway. Right? Pretend there wasn't a downgrade. This looks totally normal today after a move like this in Caterpillar. Yes, eBay too, good call. Same thing, right? Was so tough initially, but then once it finally found some breathing room, look at this. Holy cow. I didn't even realize this. This is what Elliott management will do for you. This is what Elliott management will do for you. eBay was a shame because they were sweeping it right into the teeth of the correction. So it was tough. Tough to get excited about it, you know, unless you have the firepower Elliott has to just keep buying it and rolling it. A crazy move. What are the names? UXIN, same thing there. You know, another China spec play, had a nice move from where they started. Now probably a little bit breather, and we'll see. There might be another follow through here. That's how these things are acting flow wise right now. We'll see. Yeah, I don't know if this, what the hell this is, but I'll throw this in the basket of all the other Chinese names. All of them. BHC, that's the old VRX, right? Yeah, they bought this, I think, on the pullback. So this is a decent spot. You know, secondary entry. Right? So you had this rip, you had earnings, you didn't want to buy it into the highs and go into earnings, you got the pullback. And we saw some sweeper activity off of it. We saw some sweeper activity off this pullback. So, yeah, you know, if you like it, this is where you got to start looking. You know, for me, like, for example, I'll give you guys an example. What I'm looking for right now is that initial sweeper activity. That's what I'm looking for. You know, that's why, like today, I didn't swing anything new. You know, I want initial activity. And again, because the way I play, I got a broad spectrum, right? If they hit a $3 stock, I'm willing to buy the $3 stock. I love those $3 stocks. You know, so I got a big, a wide range that I can choose from. So I'm looking for initial activity here unless we get a little more of a pull on the overall market. If we get a pull, like if we get a couple of days of a pull, then I think, you know, it opens the door to any sweeper activity into weakness because we'll have some room. A niner, these are just DeMark exhaustion signals. So a red niner, you look for buyers to start showing signs of getting tired. And a green niner, we don't have any green niners here. Oh, here's a green niner, where sellers would get tired. So we like, well, I like to use it with sweeper activity, you know, the green niners, of course. But we'll see what happens. So yeah, good, decent amount of names. We've got a lot of names, you know, and a lot of them, you can look at all these things for secondary entries, but you got to let them come in. Like here, the Zuo, you know, really nice move, niner high. Maybe she breathes now. She's due for a breather. You just don't want to chase. Peter, NIO, I know you guys, I don't know if you guys are trying to get me to sell the thing. My plan for, otherwise, I'm being honest with you guys, I probably would have been out of it. I got a decent chunk of common. I parked it in. I got an account for my daughter where if I like to hold on to something a lot longer than what I usually would hold on to things, I park it in there. And the NIO in the sixes, I parked equity in there. So I'm still in, but I got a whole different game plan and time frame on that, Peter. So I think if you're in it for a trade, you know, if you were in it for a trade, you got to lock some up here. At least roll. At least roll. You know? But for me, I'm tucking it away. Yeah, Gordon, I throw darts off names off activity, and, you know, I buy them. I got lucky a couple times. Some I didn't. You know, here's the thing. They never, especially on the fundamental side or anything like that, they never are appealing when they're trading at $5-6, right? They're always gross. But some of the biggest winners are the biggest shams. Like, for example, like an OSTK. Steven will tell you, we were seeing sweeper activity in this thing back in the day. You know, who would buy this? Who would buy this? And the stock went from 13 to 90. 90. Yeah, so this NIO caught. Oh, Gordon, I didn't know you were joking. I didn't know you were joking. So this NIO, I'm being honest with you though. The only reason I decided, like you guys who traded it, that's the only reason, though, if that sweeper activity. That's the only reason I know about it. No, because Gordon, the whatchamacallit, I had a lot of people just like to talk fundamentals. And yeah, I'm just not a fundamental type guy. Again, the fundamentals, for the most part, if you're investing and that's your whole game plan, you got to pay attention to fundamentals. But like, I'm looking to roll the dice and I'm trying to catch a touchdown here. So usually it's going to be in some piece of garbage, cheap stock that's catching flow. But yeah, a lot of big time action. You guys know, we've been talking about this name for a while. You're talking about big time sweeps in this thing. Big time sweeps for stock, $6. I mean, big time sweeps. So that's what was appealing about it. And this name too, QD, right? I mean, it's a perfect name if you wanted to throw some money in and try to hit a home run. Like, what is this thing? What the hell is this thing? QD. But it's catching action. Nobody knows what it is now, but I guarantee you, if it's north of 20 one day, the whole riff-raff world will be talking about it. Financials? Is it really financial? Maybe it's like PayPal. Maybe it's the next PayPal of China. Lending tree? Oh. Are you talking about the stock lending tree, or are you talking about this is lending tree? Oh, that's a nice rally. Oh, really, Gary? This is you look at some of the stocks out there. Look at this. You want to see something crazy? Avon. Yeah, they're still around, Avon. You see this? So that's why right now, and my gut tells me that if this market, put it this way, if we don't fall apart and end up in a bear market, my gut tells me that names like this, the theme is going to continue. Because names like this, we used to say, like me and my friends used to say, why even be publicly traded? You know what I mean? All they did was go lower, all these stocks every single day for like 3-4 straight years. Every day they would just go lower and lower. Like, what was the point of even be publicly traded in these things? So if money is going to start to look for value in some of these things, you got to broaden your horizons and you got to keep your eyes open, because there's going to be names you never even heard of or never even knew that were still around catching action. And the squeezes on these things can be huge, right? We saw one that already Kramer was pumping, caught a little sweep today. But just an example, like live person. Look at this move. You see this move? So while, the whole crowd out there is trying to figure out Amazon, and Amazon had its days, that. Amazon could still go higher, but this is where the craziness is. Now, your rebuttal to that could tell me, oh, yeah, but these are garbage companies. Some of them maybe. They can't all be garbage. They can't all be garbage. All these things have been ignored forever. Like this is, Ranchero, honestly, you're 100% right. That's probably where the money's going to be in a lot of those things, Because Ranchero, you look, those stocks have been up huge for years, right? Years. I mean, they're FANG ETFs and all this stuff. So the likelihood is, if this market, right, if we have another leg to new lows, then it all goes out the window. Okay, maybe not. Maybe not. These things can hold up better, like that whole 2000 theme I was telling you. But if this market even stabilizes, not even new highs, but stabilizes, chop, I think the opportunity is, and all the stuff people forgot about, right? Even value, right? You heard that. We heard that so many times, and it just hasn't panned out. But people finding value in stuff that's just been ignored. Yes, I agree, Alexander. Cycles of the market, cycles of the market. That's why, and if you've been in the game long enough, it's a normal thing, right? Stocks can't go up the same stocks can't go up every single year. It doesn't work that way. There are periods of time where the money will shift and rotate elsewhere. I'm talking about major rotations. And if we're at the start of that now, there's some big opportunities, and that's where I think sweeper activity. Yeah, I know I sound like a broken record, but can play a huge edge, because it's telling you. See, here's the problem. Let's say, like a QD, for example. Okay, yeah, the big action has come lately, but there were signs of sweeper activity in QD before the stock got hot. They weren't huge, okay? But my point is, if you have your eyes open, right, even paying attention to not even noteworthy sweeper activity, just signs of sweeper activity in unknown names like this, that's your edge. That's your edge. You find them, before the crowd does. And then you can raise stops, roll, and do whatever else you need to do, as they push higher. And I'm not even talking about the garbage. I'm talking about new leadership, right? If potentially, let's say this bull market lives on, the likelihood is there's going to be new leadership out there, a whole new batch of leaders. The next NVIDIA, the next Netflix, the next Facebook. That's what usually happens. We may not be, at that point now, but I'm saying eventually we're going to be at that point, and that's where we got to start to look. Don't get caught up in, swing trading the same names each and every week, each and every day. Those, like Albie said, 2017 is long gone right now. Long gone. Groupon, has that been moving too, Tim? You got to be kidding me. A little bit, right? If this thing goes, then we're in that type of environment. There was another one. Oh, yeah, Snap, right? Snap come back to life. A couple of us still holding on to this. All the stuff we never even would thought of, the thought of buying wouldn't even come into our minds for years. For good reason. That's where the money's been. All right, guys. Any last questions or thoughts before we go? So I think we take a patient approach here until, something tells us we need to do otherwise. All right. And I think once the buying shows up, that's going to help out on the timing factor. If the buying doesn't show up, then there may be some more, coming in we need to do, maybe some more chop we need to do. But it's worth being patient, just like we were talking about when the market turned here. Remember how we were talking about when the flow shows up, we're not going to miss it. It's going to be impossible to miss. There's going to be boom. Oh my God, look at that order. Oh my God, look at this order. You know what I mean? One after the other after the other. And we're going to start seeing that at some point, who knows when, but at some point, of a consolidation could be short-lived. Yeah, Abby, I posted something on private Twitter during the market hours. I'll repost it. I got another write-up over there on Charlie, so I'll throw it on there. He's cool, right? He's good stuff, that guy. All right, guys. Always a pleasure. If you're new, wallstreetjesus.com. If you have any questions, you could check it out. WALLST Jesus.com. All right, for the rest of you members and all, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Enjoy the night. Joe, yeah, JD, I mentioned earlier, I would just wait till after earnings here at this point, Joe. You got earnings coming up. So I would wait for that. You get some weakness, I think that's your opportunity. Be good, Joey. Enjoy the night, everybody.